Kenneth Grant, defensive lineman, Michigan, 6'4", 331 pounds.
First throw tipped in the air and intercepted by Michigan, and Kenneth Grant with the long arms at 340 engulfing the ball.
Kenneth Grant is a back-to-back member of the All-Big Ten second team and recorded Michigan's only sack in their 2024 National Championship game victory. At his best, Grant can use his intimidating frame to overpower linemen with his pure strength from the nose tackle. However, scouts cite his inconsistency as his biggest question mark in the NFL.
With the 13th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Miami Dolphins select Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle, Michigan.
So there you hear it with the 13th pick, Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle from Michigan, not Texas, from Michigan. He is going to bolster the line, a much-needed position for the Miami Dolphins. Then in the second round, Dolphins trade up for Jonah Savinaya out of Arizona. He is a guard from Arizona. So fortifying the trenches very important for the Miami Dolphins. Honestly, Vlad, this is the draft where every team basically said, we want to be like the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes, they were smart. Get offensive linemen and get DTs that can stop the lot. They can't make a damn alley-oop.
So the Knicks are playing right now against the Pistons. So Vlad will be a little distracted.
Yes.
But I mean, make no bones about it.
No, I'm sorry.
That's what teams were saying. We want to be like the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, we said this before the draft that if you really want to learn how to win in the league, and this is why I understand what you said about the Dolphins with some of the draft picks that they had in the middle round. You got to draft for your division, and you got to draft for what's going to happen in the postseason. And in the postseason, it's about stopping the run and running the ball. If you have offensive linemen, if your line is stout and it's been together for a long time, you have a great chance of winning in the NFL in a majority every week in and week out. And if you could stop the run and make a team one-dimensional, and you got those edge rushers that pin back that just go after the quarterback, you have a great chance of winning week to week in the NFL. You notice, like you said, a lot of the first and second round picks were offensive linemen, defensive linemen. The best of the best in the skill position players were drafted by the teams that needed those skill position players. But last year, what we had 6 quarterbacks drafted like in the first 12 rounds in 24. This year was only, was it 2 quarterbacks? Yeah, it was Dart got drafted. The Giants went late in the first round.
Yes.
So it was only 2 quarterbacks. And think about it. That was like from 22 Giants drafted Dart. So
it
20
later than that, yeah.
Maybe it might have been 25th, but I know it was in the 20s, right?
Right.
So it was at least 20 picks until from the first quarterback to the second quarterback drafted. So yeah, teams are realizing. And if you're going after the champs, so the Philadelphia Eagles are the defending champs right now. You're going to see teams going to go copy the similar style that they did, and the AFC still runs through Kansas City, and a lot of teams in that division, the AFC West, a lot of their rivals, the Bills, the Ravens, the Bengals, they saw what Philadelphia did, and what did they do? Hey, let's get more defensive weapons. Let's add more linemen so that we can run the ball and keep ball control and keep the ball away from Patrick Mahomes. And when they do have the ball, if you stop their run, if you stop Pacheco and you can pin back and go after Mahomes, that's that's your best bet. So with the 4, now it's not to blitz Mahomes because Mahomes will kill you with the blitz.
No, that's why Vic Fangio did not blitz once.
Right. It's just to get your front 4. If your front 4
pressure.
Right. And that's why you got to get a line that can stop that front 4, because if you get a line that can stop the front 4, now they got to bring the blitz. And if you got to bring the blitz, that means there's not that many people that's on the field to cover the weapons on the offense. I like a lot of things that certain teams did. The Bears impressed me.
Yeah, the Bears have done a lot this offseason.
Bears impressed
themselves, it seems like.
Bears impressed me. I'm not upset with Miami's picks.
No,
I'm not. I think Sealer and Grant would be a great
they needed that
duo in the
1-2
punch.
Front. They need that 1-2 punch. We know that Sealer's everybody's better with the 1-2 punch, but Sealer always excels with that 1-2 punch. It is a copycat league. Chris Greer obviously going to be happy with his picks, but he was telling me, telling you, telling me, telling the whole world with Kenneth Grant. He was eyeing Kenneth Grant. He went there and got Kenneth Grant, but he wasn't the only guy that had an eye on the Michigan Wolverine.
But we waited. We had a couple calls and just listening to people, and because we weren't completely closed off to the idea if an opportunity came. But at the end of the day, we chose to pick him, and then I literally got 3 texts from teams like right below us saying that was their guy. So
other teams obviously keeping an eye on Kenneth Grant.
So, man, okay, cool.
Why would they send that text? It's a weird text to send. Oh man, you got our guy. Like, don't you think they're more worried about
wait a minute. So what Chris Greer just did,
he tried to help himself, right?
No, I don't know if he helped himself, because if that's what's really going on with other general managers, this ain't fantasy football draft. This is a real NFL draft. Like, that's the type of thing when you play fantasy when, oh man, that's the guy I was gonna pick. Because if you pick a player right before another team and it's the player that they want, you'll get that type of message. But for other teams to say that, I mean, what are you trying to do? To build his ego, make him feel pride?
This is what I don't understand. So with the 13th pick in the NFL draft, the Miami Dolphins select from the University of Michigan, Kenneth Grant. The Indianapolis Colts are on the clock.
Right, Chris Ballard.
Hold up. I got
to
text Chris Greer. Hold up, before we hold up. Exactly. You got my guy. Well,
exactly.
Okay. So let's get to drafting somebody. Let's see.
That's actual facts. Like, Chris Ballard's really gonna be like, before we take Tyler Warren here, hold on. Let me go tell Chris Greer, hey CG, heck, man, you took the guy I was about to take, man. Now we got to go select Tyler Warren now. But man, good choice. No, they're not. Nobody's doing that. Get out of here. Not during the draft. Maybe afterwards.
I'm gonna have to call Chris Greer out on that one. That statement right there.
You calling BS?
I'm calling. What would you call the word?
Cap. You call it cap. Let's just call it cap. I wish I had my baseball cap so I could just throw it.
It's probably not straight facts. Like, right away I got texts from 3 different guys saying that we took their guy. Like, I think it maybe as the end of the draft or something, or maybe as they were going around. I don't know.
Dude, I can't believe general managers are acting like us on fantasy football because, dude, cap for life. Like, seriously, guys, that's the things that happens in fantasy drafts. Right. When somebody takes the player that you wanted, but you just hoping that this player may drop to you. But that's, come on, man. Wow, they are playing fantasy football when they draft you now.
I hope they have more of a clue going on than we do, but that's okay. So Mike McDaniel talking about the draft pick and Kenneth Grant, and he actually talked to the big dog, Zach Sealer, about teaming up with Kenneth Grant. And here's what Mike McDaniel says that Zach Sealer said about draft pick number 1.
Happy things. And he also said, I thought he was just trying to suck up to the University of Michigan, but he said that he's heard that Michigan guys are hard workers, which he's from Michigan. So, I just kept it moving. I said, hopefully he'll be more of a strainer than you are. Because as we know, we're not worried about Zach straining, but he still gets upset if you question it.
So hopefully this is the new 1-2 punch with Zach Sealer. It's been a kind of a revolving door of guys. It started with Christian Wilkins in his breakout season 2 seasons ago. Last year it was Calais Campbell. Hopefully this year, great returns with Kenneth Grant and Zach Sealer making the big push in the middle. Kenneth Grant, he gets to talk now. He says, look, you draft me, you made a draft pick for the books.
Yeah, it's really important because, it starts up front. Everything starts up front. So, if you can't get things up front going, then it's going to be a long day. But, I think this addition to the Miami Dolphins and me and myself, is going to be a one for the books.
One for the books, Vlad, right there. I hope he's right. And he's got a great teammate in Zach Sealer. Those guys, hopefully legendary in the middle, making pushes, stopping runs, getting pressure on quarterbacks. And this defense onward and upward. Now in the second round, Chris Greer decided to go after and trade up for Arizona guard. Of course, we need some offensive line help. Probably should start this year over Liam Eichenberg. Jonah Savinaya. Jonah Savinaya. He is another Polynesian guy blocking for Tua Tagovailoa. Hey, Jonah has some big aspirations. He says, get me on that offensive line, and in a couple of years, it could pay some very, very big dividends.
That Miami made the right pick. They'll remember that they traded up for me, and they're going to be glad that they picked me. So 5 years from now on, I'll make sure, I'm one of the guys that are bought into this program, and we're going to, God willing, we're going to get a Super Bowl in 5 years, man.
Okay, so he's got a 5-year plan, Vlad. 5-year plan. He said, hopefully in 5 years, going to win a Super Bowl. He said they made the right pick, traded up for me. I mean, he's I hate to say it, he's your starter right there at guard. He's going to be above Liam Eichenberg. So Jonah Savinaya. Of course, he says it is a dream, maybe the Pineapple Express, because you've got Tua Tagovailoa. Of course, he's got the Polynesian roots. You got Jonah Savinaya. He's got the Polynesian roots. He says it. Basically a dream come true.
I met him before Polynesian Bowl back in 22. As soon as I seen the Florida number, I immediately, thought Tua, that's who I'm going to block, hopefully in the future. And shoot, I'm just excited, man. It's funny because I blocked for like only Polynesian quarterbacks all my career, and just going into the league and Tua being a Poly quarterback. So God never makes mistakes. He wants me to block for my people. So I'm there.
I already like this guy.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
I like this guy.
I think if you have a team that has many Polynesians and Samoans and Africans, you're gonna win. They I don't know what it is.
You have a wavelength.
They appreciate playing more so, I think. Maybe from because of their upbringing. But they know how to block. They know how to maul in the trenches.
They know how to use their bodies.
They know how to use their bodies. I think that's an unbelievable draft selection by the Detroit by the Miami Dolphins. I think you did a very good job of addressing two positions, DT and offensive line. Yes, nobody wants Liam Eichenberg to take a snap. How about that?
Nobody. I want him to play some.
Preseason, I guess, right?
I mean, if he needs to get in there and get somebody needs a breather like Jonah Savinaya, yeah.
Nah, this kid
needs to start, though.
I think this kid's going to need to start, and I think he'll set the other thing I love about those guys as well, because they hardly get hurt, and they set the tone. They set the tone for the offensive line. They're nasty. They want to just maul you. They just want to keep on blocking. I like the selection. So,
and there's something about his whole entire career he has blocked for Polynesian quarterbacks. But it is one of these things, though, and it's one of the unwritten things. But you come from the same culture. You just kind of understand each other. You have just kind of a dynamic with each other. You kind of understand each other. Like you, Vlad, you're from Brooklyn. I'm sure you get in a room with someone that's from Brooklyn. You guys had a lot in common. You kind of, you have this type of swagger, this kind of idea, this type of thinking. And, I think it has a little something to say with it. Of course, it's not the end all be all, but really, I do like the pick. I like the way he's speaking. I like that he has a 5-year plan to make to the Super Bowl. I like the fact that he says, God, don't make mistakes. I'm blocking for another Poly quarterback. And he also says this, that he hopes to set an example and to be an inspiration for Polynesian kids all over the world.
Man, that's my plan. That's my goal moving on in the future. And I want to get back to, in American Samoa, because I grew up and there was a camp that Troy Polamalu came out there, played 60 or something like that. Mikey Patti was there actually too. So he was coaching me up and just looking up to those guys that are giving back and doing these for us and little kids. So now that I have the opportunity and the chance to do that, I'll make sure I do that, moving on, and just looking in those kids' faces, I just see myself through them. So I know what it's like to grow up in the islands. So that's something I want to do.
Jonah Savinaya sounds like he has a good head on his shoulders. Hopefully he's got some good blocking for Tua, but I like the first two picks. I think we've come to the conclusion, Vlad, as of now, we like the first two picks. Kenneth Grant out of Michigan, defensive line, and then Jonah Savinaya. He is going to be a guard, offensive line, and should start day one.
I think both picks are starting day one.
That's true too. You're right.
I think both. I think that's something that's very good for the Dolphins. Because look, we were all wondering about Chop last season, and then finally, when Chop did get his chance to shine, he started showing himself early. Struggled a little bit in the middle, but then towards the end of the season, you realize, okay, this is why he was a first round selection. So you got Chop. Now you got Mr. Grant. You got Zach.
You know that's going to be good.
That's a good 3. That's a good 3 of your 4 right there.
The offensive line, you get Austin Jackson back.
You get Austin Jackson back. Now Patrick play. Hey, baby, time to take off those Huggies. It's time to take off the Huggies.
Hopefully you get.
Austin's got to stay healthy. I mean, he's got to stay healthy and be there throughout the season. And then now you got the kid. You got Jonah.
You got Patrick Paul, hopefully making a big step.
He's got to take the Huggies off this year.
Yeah, I know. You got, and I mean, once again, Bradley Chubb. Hopefully, you get him back. He can make some noise.
Oh yeah, I forgot Bradley, and then and Jalen. So those guys can come back. That's a good fight. That's a good 5 right there.
You got health, and you got, or at least relative.
I don't know what you're gonna do in the secondary and the linebackers because
they addressed some of that, but I don't know if it was enough. I don't know about that. And Jalen Ramsey's still on the team. Jalen Ramsey. Although
5-0.
We got to find a trade because I don't see that playing out well if he has to stay on the team and play this year because they already look like they don't want to. Neither side wants to be with one another.